a small museum in the heart of Ogdensburg, expands and deepens the appreciation and work of artist Frederick Remington. This next segment was made possible thanks to the Dorothea Susan Badenhausen Legacy Fund. It is the Frederick Remington Art Museum, and visitors discover how this 19th century artist chronicled the American Old West using different mediums.
Most people know Frederick Remington as an artist of the Western frontier, and they're not wrong. He gave lasting shape to all of the major features of the Western genre, the scenes and settings and situations, the action, the mood, the plots, the props, and certainly the cast of characters. So it's really hard to overestimate his contributions to the iconography and mythos of the Western frontier that continues to resonate in American political and social life today. But he was not only a Western artist. He was from this region of far northern New York, near the Canadian border. You could say New York's northern frontier. He was born in nearby Canton, and he maintained really close ties to this area throughout his life. And he spent most of his artistic career in and around New York City. So he's an artist that was very keyed in to the New York art scene of his day. He was keeping abreast of and responding to all of the art movements that were shaping American art in his period, and integrating those movements into his own work. He's somebody that I think goes well beyond the simple characterization as a Western artist. In particular, he did quite a number of Eastern and Northern paintings, and in some cases sculptures, and those works are perhaps less well known, but show us an artist who was much wider in his vision than he's often credited for. Frederick Remington was a remarkably prolific artist. In the course of his career, he created over 3,200 finished, signed flat works, right, paintings and drawings. He created 22 different subjects in bronze, and he was also a writer. He wrote the equivalent of 8 books in addition to all of his work in the visual arts. So it can be really challenging to try to summarize his complete body of work given how vast it is. This museum exists largely through the foresight and generosity of Eva Remington, Frederick Remington's widow. After his untimely death in 1909 at the age of 48, she eventually would move to here, Ogdensburg, New York, which is near to the summer home that they had for many years on the St. Lawrence River, and where she, like Frederick Remington, had many friends. In addition to the Remington exhibits that are always the primary focus for visitors to the museum, the Remington Museum also features changing exhibits by contemporary artists. The museum also has an education center, which is the home of our children's museum. As we know, art museums are often hands-off places. Children cannot touch any of the original works of art on display here in the galleries, but in our children's museum, we've got a fully equipped art studio for children so that they can explore painting and drawing and sculpting, and also engage in creative play in rooms dedicated to Remington in the North Country and Remington out west. We're sitting in the Albert P. Newell Gallery, one of two main galleries that are dedicated to exhibiting Frederick Remington's artwork here at the Frederick Remington Art Museum. So this is Frederick Remington's 1898 oil painting, The Charge of the Rough Riders. Remington's created a very heroic view of the battle at the San Juan Heights, and he's used this inverted triangle here as the main compositional form, and you see that he's put Teddy Roosevelt up there on his horse, Little Texas, leading the charge. This is a good example of a painting that captures a snapshot of action that's part of a larger story where we know something happened before, we know something is coming after. In this case, it was an illustration for a story written by Theodore Roosevelt to tell the story of the taking of the San Juan Heights. So this is the Bronco Buster. It is quintessential Remington. You know, he's thrown us right in the midst of the conflict between civilization and the wild, and the outcome is yet to be determined. We really get to spend some time thinking over how this one is going to play out. So this painting, The Last March, is a good example of those late works that we were talking about, where he gets a little darker in his tone, and that's both literally, right? So this is one of his nocturnes, the night scenes that he painted. So he's trying to capture the effect of darkness, of moonlight in the dark, but it's psychologically dark as well. You know, we've got this riderless horse who is just this really poignant central figure that, you know, the wolves are circling around it. It does not look like things are going to have a happy ending for the horse, but, you know, the horse keeps plodding forward with resignation, and it just evokes such feelings about loneliness and the inevitability of death.
The museum is open year-round with reduced hours during the off-season. Visit fredericriemington.org for more information.